In this video we take a look at Unkval the Eliminator from Sexy Ice's Vermin series. He is probably one of the beefiest, most articulated action figures out there. So far anyway. And I will say now he is definitely an all-round great figure to have in any collection. He can be a little bit pricey though, so you're probably wondering whether he's worth it. Well, he is a more premium figure for sure. But I think his design, sculpt, accessories, and articulation are more than worth it. You know, he might even be Figure of the Year. In saying that, there are a few things that you might want to look out for, and I'll go over those later on. This is officially my first figure from the company Sexy Ice 2019. And a huge shout out to Bombersby as well for sending this over so we can check it out. Speaking of Sexy Ice, they do some pretty cool stuff. They made that Mantis before. And another figure you're absolutely going to want to check out is Manticora, who is an absolute beast of a figure and a whole different vibe. Depending on when you're watching, you can order Manticora and other cool figures straight off Bombersby. I will have links in the description. So Unkval comes in both a solo and trio or squad edition. I'll just be covering the solo version. Just to note, the squad version does come with an extra little drone thing. Anyway, he comes in 2 and a bit trays. The top tray has the figure and some hands. The second tray has his weapons and stand. And there's a little extra tray with an alt headpiece. I think this might be a first release or pre-order bonus. Here's a quick look at the instructions. So it's funny because I was actually thinking of skipping the instructions. But then one time I was looking at a second-hand figure and I needed the instructions. And none of the reviews online had it, so just in case, better show it off as well. First impressions in hand. He's a pretty hefty dude. I mean, just look how thick he is. He feels super sturdy and you just know you're gonna have fun with this one. He actually kinda feels almost as heavy as a 1/9 Animester girl. And I'm pretty sure he is heavier than both Tokiwa and Fiona combined. For color, he is pretty much just black and grey with some silver accents here and there. The paint and finishing does have a slight metallic sheen that really helps the figure pop under the right lighting. The sculpt is really accentuated by this. I actually really like how he's kind of got a generic mercenary soldier kind of look. I think there is some lore and they're pretty much tasked to eliminate things, hence the name. Whatever it is, it works. The overall sculpt and design is detailed but not overdone. He's all armored and geared up, but somehow still looks pretty intricate and sleek, if that even makes sense. For such a beefy figure, you'd probably expect them to have pretty basic articulation. Well, that is definitely not the case here, and we'll take a look at that later on. Overall, he's definitely got a premium look and feel to him, and he'll pretty much look great in whatever pose you have him in. Now, what's a great design and sculpt without some accessories and gear? Let's see what he has. Of course, there is a stand. There are some screws so you can tighten and loosen it if you need to. There are also spare wrist joints. He has 2 different head sculpts. The default head sculpt looks as though he has his visor down. I'd say it looks good, pretty cool. The alternate head sculpt has his visor up and you can kind of see his face. I believe the orange bits do glow under UV or black light, but unfortunately I do not have a torch or anything. Another cool thing is that how his eye is recessed kind of makes it look like he's looking at you from every angle. Speaking of head sculpt, if you get Manticora, you can get this head too. Pretty cool, but also pretty messed up. For hands, he has a total of 4 pairs besides his default fisty hands. These are nicely sculpted. He has holdy hands with a hole. These are actually enclosed, so you will have to find stuff which kind of fits properly. He has kind of gesture or grabby hands. He has pointy hands. And he has gun-holdy trigger finger hands. It's nice how the lower section here is cut a little bit deeper to allow for more range. At least I think that's why it's there. So he does have a solid set of hands, and they also feel pretty solid to swap out. For weaponry, he has a warhammer. This looks pretty nice. It is a modest size. Not much else to say here. It's not too fancy, but it doesn't really need to be, does it? Looks good anyway. He's probably feeling a little bit ripped off here. For defense, he has a rectangular shield, which I guess you can also use to smack and stab people with. This is pretty much exclusively used with his left hand because of the angle of the grip. You just slide the hand onto the handle of the shield, and then you slide the shield onto the arm and reattach the hand. Of course, he has a gun. This is an assault rifle of some sort. I would say this also looks good. It's not too detailed and there aren't any fancy bits that you can play around with. But again, it makes sense and it's pretty sturdy. Just be careful when sliding his trigger finger hands onto the gun. Finally, he has a neurotoxin dagger. This looks nice, kind of shiny. It is stained with red. I'm not sure if this is the toxin itself or if it's just blood. Doesn't matter too much. So he does have a nice variety of accessories. And if it's not enough, well, I'm sure you can borrow stuff from other figures as well. So sculpting, excellent. Accessories, pretty cool. But what makes Unkval really impressive is how he moves. Let's see how this beefy boy articulates. Head articulation, it's okay. Just be careful of the little antenna thing. It's not too fragile, but you wouldn't want to accidentally slip and snap it. Head movement is a little bit stiff on mine, but it's not too bad. His neck also moves separately and he can look down a lot. Holy moly. Looking up is a little bit limited though. Arm range is excellent. They raise to the side really well. And the shoulder pad will just move out of the way. The shoulder pad is done really well in that it's attached by a ball joint. I found that whatever pose I had him in, the shoulder pads could usually be moved in a way so that gapping is minimal. He reaches forwards perfectly. Do take your time when posing him as he is pretty sturdy. And he can be a little bit stiff out of the box. But after a while, he'll just feel really solid to move. He can reach backwards like this. He has a bicep swivel. And his elbows bend well. They're not exactly double jointed, but you can overextend them. Bent to 90, they will look fine from all angles. Overextended, they'll look a little bit funny because there is a big gap. However, it doesn't matter too much. I mean, what else are you going to do with a beefy boy like this? There is also a little bit of rotation at the elbow. Hand movement, pretty standard stuff. Torso movement is fantastic. There will pretty much not be any gapping as they've accounted for it in the sculpt. It is actually such a treat moving this guy around. I mean, I do enjoy my girly figures, but this guy just feels really substantial. When you bend the upper torso, more of the midsection is exposed, and it looks just as good. It's like he's actually extending and stretching. This is exactly what action figures should be like. Anyway, he has a floating belt and a diaper kind of piece. His legs split to the side like this. He kicks back and forth. He does have separate hip or upper thigh movement, but it can be a little bit hard to manipulate. Just take your time with it, and coupling this with the thigh rotation, his leg range is superb. Otherwise, knee bend is good. They kick out unnaturally well. He does have some boot movement, and it's not just rotation. His feet move back and forth. Rotate. And pivot a little bit. And he has toe articulation. Overall, I gotta say range is pretty insane for such a thick figure, and with little to no gapping as well. I'd say he has a pretty perfect sculpt, and you'd be able to get him in any kind of dynamic pose you need to and he'll still look natural. That is provided of course you take your time with him, otherwise he might look something like this. I mean honestly, you don't even have to do super dynamic or cool poses to have fun with this guy. You can roll him up into a ball. How does this even work? For height, Unkval is just shy of 17 centimeters, or a little under 6 3/4 of an inch. So he's not actually super tall and will absolutely fit in with pretty much anything. This kind of figure is not the type of thing I usually cover, but I thought it'd be fun to check out some other stuff too. And I would say honestly, it was absolutely worth it because Unkval is fantastic. He's probably one of the best action figures out there right now. Of course, if you are looking to grab some cool figures, don't forget to check out Bombasby, linked below. Do let me know your thoughts on Unkval and whether I should cover more non-waifu figures like this. Thanks for watching and I'll see you again next time.